sale coming from the back door.
Yeah, I don't even see the chief.
Well, he was here and he went out, so maybe he'll be back.
Ernie needs to keep an eye on that. On the back.
Pretty short crowd tonight.
Yep.
Pretty short.
Well, it's going to be a short meeting, too.
I guess we're ready. Anytime.
We think we are, because they can spy on us.
Okay, we'll call the meeting order. The Newman City Council and Redevelopment Agency of August 8, 2006. Please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we please bow our heads? Tonight, I'd like to ask everyone just for a moment of silence for Dennis Soares, the teacher in Newman that lost his life in a motorcycle accident yesterday. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here tonight. We ask that you give this council the strength and wisdom to make the right decisions for this city. And this we pray, amen. Amen.
Thank you, Bob. A roll call, please.
Councilmember Parker, Marquez,
Present.
Martinez,
Present.
Winkler,
Present.
Mayor Vandazia.
Present. Declaration of conflicts of interest. Look, we have any this evening. Ceremonial matter, or we have postponed that item. Non-agenda items. If anybody has anything that is not on the posted agenda, now would be the time to bring it before us. Seeing nothing, we'll move on to agenda items. When the item comes before us and you'd like to make a comment, please come to the podium and state your name and address, and try to keep your comments to under 3 minutes. Item 8, public hearings. We have one this evening. Conduct public hearing and introduce ordinance number 2006, next to number approving changes to the city purchasing system.
Thank you, Mayor. As part of staff's program right now, what we're doing is trying to continue to update all of our outdated sections of the municipal code. This municipal code section was drafted and adopted in 1977, so there are some changes that we would like this council to consider. The first section deals with who appoints the purchasing officer. Back prior to the council manager form of government, the council appointed the purchasing officer. Staff is recommending that appointee be done by the city manager now. The second section, just kind of some cleanup language there that talks about agencies, and it's really dealing with departments. So there's some cleanup language there for 1.09030 exemptions. And then there's and under the next section that we have is 1.09040 purchasing procedures. Again, supplementing the word departments for agencies, and then removing a section that talks about emergency requirements be placed for $100 or less. The fourth change that we're requesting is under the formal contract procedure, and there's two changes here. One, we are asking that the council consider moving the $5,000 limit to $20,000. This makes it more efficient for staff to go out and secure supplies and equipment that is needed. All these only apply to items that are currently budgeted in an adopted budget by the city council. So any item that would not be approved under the adopted budget would have to come back for council action. If it was approved under the adopted budget, then it would be allowed to be purchased if it was $20,000 or less. The second part of that would be adding a paragraph, and the council has talked about this in the past, and that's that local bidder's preference. and this was talked about by this council prior to me becoming city manager, but at this time we took advantage of this opportunity to add that. And what we're adding is a local bidder's preference, and that would give local bidders who have a place of business within the community a 1% local bidder's preference.
We said 1%?
We said 1%. The research that we have done, and the reason why we're recommending 1% as opposed to 5% is we can justify it as staff when we have to talk to the public. We'll get 1% of the sales through sales tax. We get that back to us. We thought about the 5%, but then that could be construed as a gift of public funds if you go above the 1%, and that's what some of our research has showed us. That does not mean that some communities have not adopted a 5% local bid preference. We're just at this time recommending 1%, and that's up for council discussion.
Which is our instant savings back on the percent that we
That's correct.
tax.
That's correct. That's the amount that we would receive back in terms of sales tax. And then the open market procedures, again, purchases and supplies of equipment, estimated value in the amount of $20,000 or less, may be made by the purchasing officer in the open market. Again, while these are supplies and equipment that are approved by the council in their adopted budget, we would obviously shop it around and not just take the first bid that came to us. And then as provided, we would use local vendors where we can. So with that, staff has recommended that these changes be adopted. Tonight, as it is an ordinance amendment, we would conduct a public hearing and then introduce the ordinance, therefore. I can answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Questions from Michael? Comments from the council? If not, I will open the public hearing and welcome comments from the public at this time. Seeing no one, I will.
I don't know if mine will be appropriate for this moment, but good evening. My name is Olivia Gonzalez, and I'm here to present an invitation to the City Council.
Okay, hang on, Olivia. We're right in the middle. Let's finish this and we'll, okay? Thank you. Nobody wanted to comment on that. We're going to close the public hearing and ask for some direction from the council.
I move the introduction of ordinance number 2006 next to number, approving the changes to the city purchasing system as outlined in the staff report.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 9, consent calendar. Approval of warrants, approval of minutes of the July 25th, 2006 regular meeting.
I so move for approval of the warrant calendar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 10, regular business. Item A, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2006-3 and an ordinance amending Title 8, Health and Sanitation of the Newman City Code, adopting administrative remedies and administrative citation processes.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a continuation of the process of which we started at the last meeting. Again, we are in the process of developing 2 code enforcement programs that will be working simultaneously. One is called the administrative citation, and one's called the administrative remedies process. What we're asking you to do now is conduct a second reading and then adopt the ordinance.
Do we need a motion to waive the full reading, Tom, of the? Okay. We read it last time, but if somebody, what we need is a motion to waive the full reading of the ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I make that motion also.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item B, award bid for demolition of the city swimming pool.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. As stated in the staff report, we're directed to prepare bid documents and specifications for the demolition of the swimming pool. Bid documents were sent to the 4 contractors listed in the staff report. There was a typographical error in the notice inviting sealed proposals or bids. The date that was supposed to be the bid award was advertised as bid opening date. That was my mistake. I was the ones who prepared the specification, so my utmost apologies for this blunder. But we went ahead and we had the bid opening today at 2 o'clock. And as stated in this report, I handed out a report to you prior to the beginning of tonight's meeting. And as you can see, we only received 1 bid from Modesto Sand and Gravel for $38,900. We also had informal bids solicited for the removal and disposal of friable asbestos floor material and roofing material at the pool. Again, we solicited from 3 companies, and we only received 1 bid from ET Abatement of Modesto for $6,820. Staff recommendation is for us to award the bid for the demolition of swimming pool to Modesto Sand and Gravel for the amount of $38,900. And we're also asking that permission to enter into an agreement with ET Abatement for the removal of the hazardous material for $6,820. And this amount includes the $360 mandated air quality fee that's required from the San Joaquin Valley Air Quality Control Board. Any questions?
Ernie, what did it cost to build a pool? Do you remember what that figure was?
No, that pool was built in 1948, and I was able to find the blueprints on it, but I couldn't find any records whatsoever on it.
Probably costs less than this.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Questions for Ernie? Just don't forget to get that plaque. I keep on reiterating that.
We've got quite a few items there that we need to remove. We've disconnected the pool heaters that we're going to be taking out of there. We'll be getting the plaque out of there. There's some picnic tables that we're going to remove, and as soon as they heard that we're gonna demolish the pool, somebody went and cut the lock on the pump for the little wading pool and took that one. So
Oh,
who knows
geez,
who-
really?
Yeah, they know they jumped on that real quick.
Ernie, in the demolition, do we have a chlorine tank or an acid tank or a tank on the outside edge of that pool?
We do have a sodium hypochlorite tank that we did use for chlorination, and also with a containment vessel, and we have to also pick those up and move those out of there.
Is that something that has to go to a toxic landfill or something reusable?
No, because it's sodium hypochlorite solution, which is only about a 12%, and those we can use as backup for our water wells. So
Okay, good.
they're useful.
There's no more questions for Ernie.
I move that we award the bid for demolition of the city swimming pool in the amount of $38,900, as well as authorizing staff to enter into agreement with ET Abatement Incorporated out of Modesto for $6,820.
Second that motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you.
Item C, adopt resolution number 2006. Next to number, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract for legal services with a firm of, Barkowitz, Cronick, and Shanahan. Sounds like an attorney at law firm. Oh,
Thank you, Mayor. As the city anticipates receiving our letter from the Regional Water Quality Control Board and continuing down the path of exploring securing surface water rights, we believe it's an imperative that we have a specialist in water right transfers to assist the city in the development of contracts and the negotiations. Through our research, we have found that this firm and the lead gentleman, Paul Barkowitz, is one of the leading gentlemen in the state on this. I know our city attorney has contacted people he has worked with to get us that letter and to respond in writing, hopefully by the end of this week. So, As part of this, we're just asking that you allow staff to enter into this contract for legal services. At this time, we're requesting that the maximum amount be set at $10,000. Anything that would go over and above that, we would come back to the council.
Questions for Michael? If not, some direction.
I move we adopt resolution number 2006 next to number. Resolution authorizing city manager to execute contract for legal services with the firm of Barkowitz, Chronic, and Shanahan in the amount not to exceed $10,000.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item D, adopt resolution number 2006, next to number, authorizing execution of an agreement for subdivision improvements as condition to approval of final subdivision map of Sherman Ranch Unit Number 5.
Thank you, Mayor. Before your meeting tonight, I did put a copy of that final map on your site. As part of the Sherman Ranch project, most of the residents here will know this piece of